I don't believe the Crash mobile game is bad for the franchise. Let me explain why.
Whoa!
What's up guys, Canadian Guy here and back with a brand new video. Last week we got a leak that is what seems to be a brand new Crash Bandicoot game that might be coming to phones in the future. Whether or not this was just a prototype is something to be revealed. Crash is also sporting a new look that has people speculating on whether or not this will be the new art direction for the Crash franchise or if it's just a one-off work in progress model that will be used in future mobile games. We will have to see. But today I wanted to talk about something different. People have been arguing about this new game. Is it good for Crash? Is it bad? Is Crash dead? Will this not help Crash or will it help? There are so many takes on this and I wanted to do some research before I gave mine. And after some cross-referencing and research, I've come to the conclusion that this app will actually help out Crash in the long run. Pun totally intended. So Crash is getting a mobile game. Yes, I get it. A bad word in the gaming industry. A bad word to sit right beside microtransactions, pay to win in Fallout 76. But like Fallout 76, mobile games has been seen as a literal disease because of what's been settled as the norm for mobile games. The game is free to play and costs nothing to play the base game, but is constrained by microtransactions. So this can literally be anything from refilling lives faster, unlocking cosmetics, and even speeding up the process of whatever the game entails. Sadly, there has been two things that have happened recently within the mobile gaming market that has given regular gamers sour grapes. One of those things is that old beloved IPs that people want to see come back in full glory have been sent to mobile as kinda a graveyard to squeeze out the last dollars before being tossed aside forever. The other issue is the egregious microtransactions, like seen in Mario Kart Tour, where there is just crazy pricing. $55 for the Luigi pack? Are you serious? Who would pay that? I could buy a copy of CTR, go pick up a pizza, buy a double Timmy's coffee, and still spend less money. What kind of garbage are you shoveling, Nintendo? These have been prime examples of why people within the gaming industry have not been fans of mobile games. There are also other reasons, like the games are too simple, boring, and just reskins of other simple and boring games that we all have played before. But calling something boring is a bit subjective in terms of gaming. So here I am, bad-mouthing the mobile business, and yet I think that a Crash Bandicoot game going to mobile is actually a good thing. Some of you might be wondering if I had too much syrup on snow this morning, but I promise you, I haven't completely lost my nut. Not yet, anyway. The first and foremost thing that you have to see is when it comes to mobile games, as with every single company that thrives, is money. Duh. This is how games are made, this is why games are made, and this is the overall reason why the industry exists. Now, you know me, I love stats, because you can't argue with them. According to Newzoo, at the end of 2018, they declared that the gaming industry is valued at $134.9 billion. Now, it was split into three categories with a few subcategories within those, but PC gaming overall holds a $35.7 billion share within the industry. Console gaming holds a $47.9 billion share, and you want to know what the mobile games hold? $68.5 billion. Almost 50% of the entire gaming industry's value is from mobile games alone, and it's not stopping either. The mobile market has seen an increase of an average of 12.8% each year. That means that by the end of 2022, if this rate continues as set, the mobile market could be valued at $100 billion. If that's the case, if you were looking to make money, the mobile market is the place to go. Now, some of you might be absolutely baffled by this amount. How is it possible that such an industry is so large? Simple. A vastly bigger potential audience. Think about it for a second. PC gaming requires not only a computer, but a rig that can actually run games. Console gaming requires a console. All these things require upfront costs that the general public does not want to invest to. But what is one thing that almost every single person has? a smartphone. Yes, it's limited in power. No, it can't hit beautiful frame rates or graphics like the consoles or PC, but almost every single person has one. So when they pop open their phone, they can download a cute little game to keep them entertained. Moms and dads play these games, grandparents, and young children who can't afford brand new games. Which brings me to the biggest point of this new Crash game. This Crash game is not marketed to the diehard fans. Sure, I'm sure Activision wants them to play the game, but that's not exactly their direct market. See, the Insane Trilogy was fueled by nostalgia, something that is incredibly powerful and still used today in the gaming market. Ultimately, nostalgia is the best brand recognition you could ever have because it's attached to a good fuzzy feeling. But that nostalgia is only attached to those who played the game originally. Now, the original Crash Bandicoot games came out during a time when playing video games was looked down upon by many people. But today, gaming is seen as a much more acceptable hobby in social circles. So likely, Brad from the football team that gave you a wedgie for playing Metal Gear Solid is probably playing Call of Duty or Madden with his buddies. Silly, hypocritical Brad. So now Activision wants to increase their brand recognition to not only people who were huge fans of the game before, but to a brand new audience. Mobile gaming is a huge gateway to non-gamers to come and try both PC and console gaming. This Crash game will be a simplified experience to the regular Crash Bandicoot games, but it will give somewhat of an idea of how it works. Now, King is going to be making the mobile game. The company arguably defined the mobile app genre with Candy Crush. Now, when this game goes live, you know they're going to be advertising Crash on Candy Crush. And let me tell you, hundreds of millions of people are going to be exposed to Crash Bandicoot for their very first time. And guess what? People are going to download it. Again, this app would be targeting a new audience. Now, maybe this app can also bring back old fans of the game that fell out of gaming. Again, it would be easy because all they have to do is pick up their phones and download the game. No upfront money or dedication is required. This would mean that people who were originally unfamiliar with Crash will now not only recognize him, but recognize the brand as a whole. That means if a mom is walking through a store and sees Crash Bandicoot, she would be able to recognize it. Or if a child who is looking for a new game for their birthday, Crash is now recognizable to them because they played the mobile game on their tablet or their mother's phone. Brand recognition to the outside core audience is something huge because it turns general people from knowing the game to becoming a part of that core audience, which will spend money on the IP. This, of course, is as long as the microtransactions that come with the game are not as terrible as Mario Kart Tour, because that would not help the franchise. Now, you might think, the popularity of the Crash Bandicoot app is likely not going to affect the sales of the overall franchise, but it will in fact kill Crash Bandicoot. Oh boy, here we go with the melodramatic kill Crash Bandicoot line. I need a fainting couch. I swear I've heard this 6 times before. Have franchises and IPs that were failing in sales get a mobile app to try and squeeze a few more dollars on their way out the door before they end indefinitely? Absolutely. However, just as there are franchises that are sent through the mobile machine and then right into their grave, there are others that are already popular that have multiplied their success by the exact same process. Crash is in no way dead and reported over 10 million sales on the Insane Trilogy alone. Those are old numbers too, so it's likely gone up, and those are really high sale numbers. Still don't believe me? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to the Pokemon Go phenomenon. Pokemon Go went viral when it was announced and released. Literally everyone played it. Now, of course, it's not played as much anymore, but there are still many people who do play it. One set of people that really enjoy it is the older demographic who go on walks. Moms, dads, grandparents, etc. This game was a fun little way to enhance their walking experience and help relieve them of boredom. It also brought back old fans who were interested in the Pokemon series as children, but didn't want to invest any money into a console to play it. Now, look at the release of Pokemon Sword and Shield. Your mind is about to be spun. Pokemon X and Y, the most popular Pokemon game on the 3DS, sold 16.4 million units in its lifetime of 6 years. Pokemon Sword and Shield has sold 16 million units in a month and a half. Stop and let that sink in for a second. The most popular Pokemon 3DS game of all time was surpassed in its lifetime sales in a month and a half. Pokemon Sword and Shield came out on November 21st, and the report was submitted on December 31st. And it gets even more impressive. The 3DS has sold 75.4 million units so far in its lifetime. That means more of an available audience is able to play X and Y. So about 1 in 4.5 people who owns a 3DS has X or Y. The Switch has sold 52 million units, so less of an audience can play Pokemon Sword and Shield compared to the most popular Pokemon 3DS game because there were more 3DSs sold. But that ratio drops to 1 in 3 people. In a month and a half, and even under the national Dex boycott, the game will pass the lifetime sales of X and Y by the next quarterly report with less consoles available. I believe Pokemon Go was a huge driving force to bring people back to not only to buy a console, but also become interested in Pokemon once more. Pokemon Go seemingly has brought back millions of players, and I believe that this Crash Bandicoot app is going to do the same thing for the franchise. Now, yes, of course, Mario Kart Tour and Pokemon Go are based on these mega franchises. Of course they're going to sell. You're right. They are mega franchises, and that's what Activision is trying to create, a Crash Bandicoot mega franchise. No matter how much we love Crash, he is not pulling in sales numbers like Mario, Pokemon, or even The Legend of Zelda, but they're trying to build him to that. And how you build that is brand recognition. By exposing Crash to the largest sector of the gaming market, you bring him to a new audience, which will inevitably drive sales. Overall, I don't see this mobile game as something negative, but as an overall positive to the franchise. The more people that gain interest in Crash, the more likely the IP will have more money invested into it and therefore will have a longer life. Again, as long as the microtransactions are not as bad as Mario Kart Tour. But what do you guys think? Do you disagree with me? Comment below and let me know. A huge thank you to all those who support the channel through Patreon and being a sponsor on the channel. If you'd like to help it out, check out the links in the description below, where you can buy some CGE merch or become a Patreon. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe for more gaming and nostalgic content. Thank you so much everyone, and I'll see you guys in the next video.